In the story of an ending, we are often obsessed with the final act. The slammed door, the breakup text, the last jagged words flung in anger. We call this the breaking point. But there is a crueler truth. A true breaking rarely happens in a single moment. It is a process of evaporation. A good man doesn't just walk away. He ceases to be. His disappearance is a masterpiece of stillness. He doesn't leave the room. He simply dims his own light, bit by bit, until all that remains is the ghost of a presence, while his physical body still sits right beside you. This video is a psychological autopsy. We aren't looking for the cause of death in the final blow, but in the thousands of unseen emotional bruises accumulated over the years. This isn't a story about a deserter. It's the story of a soldier who abandons his trench only when he realizes he's been fighting a solo war against an enemy that doesn't exist, only to find himself facing total indifference. The first stage of disappearing isn't absence. It is the self-destruction of the communication channel. A good man, at his core, is a builder. He constructs, repairs, and protects. Language is his primary tool. When he tries to explain why a broken promise matters, or why a small disrespect creates a massive fissure, he isn't complaining. He is attempting to perform structural maintenance on the relationship. But what happens when every repair attempt is dismissed as overcomplicating things, being too sensitive, or worse, labeled as toxic? He learns a devastating lesson. His voice is no longer a tool for building. It is a nuisance. And so, he begins a dangerous experiment: silence. This silence isn't agreement. It is a calculated surrender. You'll hear it in the shorthand. Okay, my fault. You're right. These aren't your victories. These are his tactical withdrawals. He is shifting from striving to be understood to damage control mode. In this phase, a flicker of hope remains, a fragile wish that his silence will be recognized as a scream for help, that you will stop and ask, "What are you really thinking?" But more often than not, his silence is misinterpreted as stability. You think, he's finally matured. Things are finally peaceful. Here lies the first paradox. The peace you are currently enjoying is the sound of him giving up. He becomes invisible in conflict. No more arguments, no more defending his perspective. You might win every fight, but those wins take place on a battlefield he's already abandoned. You are screaming into an empty room. When the hope of being heard dies, something larger begins to wither. Expectation for the relationship itself. This is the quiet, irreversible turning point. His mind begins the grim work of reallocating his emotional portfolio. Before, us was the center. Now, I and you begin to decouple. He quietly starts calculating the opportunity cost. What did I sacrifice this friendship for? How much is this mental peace worth? What is the price of maintaining this hollow tranquility? And he begins to divest. You won't see him withdraw money, but you will see him withdraw his presence. He finds solace and joy in places where you aren't. He sits in his car for an extra 5 minutes. He stays at the gym an hour longer. Work becomes busier. This isn't avoidance. It is life source relocation. He is moving the remaining embers of his energy from us to me. This is the era of perfect autopilot. He still does everything right. He remains the exemplary husband, father, or partner. He fixes the leaky faucet, attends the family events, asks about your day. But if you look closely, you'll notice a terrifying absence: the death of spontaneity. No more silly texts, no more unprompted touch, no more late-night talks about impossible dreams. He treats you with the precision of a brilliant project manager, not the warmth of a lover. He is doing something few recognize: mental divorce. He is practicing being alone while still living with you. In this process, he discovers a liberating truth. He can survive, he can even be happy, without you ever truly seeing him. The calm you see isn't maturity, it is detachment. And then it arrives. The final stage. This is no longer withdrawal or detachment. This is transformation. He no longer feels the hurt because he has finished building his final wall. Your criticisms, your indifference, even your late-stage attempts at effort, they all bounce off a concrete barrier of apathy. Not apathy toward you, but apathy toward what you think of him. This is the moment you lose the power to hurt him. You can scream, cry, threaten, or even try to spark jealousy, and all you'll receive is a serene gaze, or perhaps a polite, distant smile. It isn't nobility, it is freedom. He has emancipated himself from the need for your validation. The physical departure is a mere formality. The real goodbye was spoken months ago, on the night he lay there and realized, I no longer remember the face of the woman I used to love. I only see a lesson, a costly lesson about never trading self-respect for approval, about how kindness without boundaries is merely self-destruction. He leaves not because he hates you. He leaves because he has fallen back in love with himself, and that love demands a peace that this relationship can no longer provide. The most terrifying part isn't that he walks out the door. It's that you became so accustomed to his invisibility that you only notice him once he's truly gone. You look around and see a room full of furniture. A life, still in motion, but its soul, that quiet, stable, patient presence, is gone. And you realize you didn't lose him the day he left. You lost him every single day you mistook his silence for a gift instead of a final farewell. So, what is the lesson here? Perhaps it isn't cherish him before it's too late. It is this: fear the silence more than the noise. Noise means the heart is still beating. Noise means there is still investment. But the silence of a good man, that is the sound of resignation. When a good man chooses to disappear, it isn't an act of revenge. It is his final act of self-respect. He tried to exist within your line of sight, and when that proved impossible, he chose a different way to exist, outside of it. He won't leave with an explosion. He will simply become transparent until you look right through him and see nothing but your own regret reflected in the mirror of an empty room.